Ms. Lawford,
Ms. Sue Chung,
present.
Mr. Charlie Shin,
Yes, here.
Ms. Rebecca Lee,
Here.
Ms. Suk Young Park,
Here.
Mr. Aaron Pack,
Present.
Mr. William Kim,
Here.
Mr. Anthony Kim,
Present.
Ms. Bo Young Yu,
Here.
Ms. Yoon Min,
Present.
Dr. Cirillo,
Present.
Bush Law Group.
Present.
Thank you.
In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, I hereby state that the notice of this regular meeting has been provided to the public by the written notice dated January 14, 2024. The meeting notice has been emailed to all staff members at the District 3 school locations, communicated to at least one of the board's designated newspapers, filed with the Borough Clerk of Palisades Park. Now we move to the working session to review and discuss about the agenda. So first agenda is to approve the minutes, but for now, we just discussed on the meeting minutes with, November 20, 2024. Any board member requesting corrections on minutes or discussion? If now we move on to the committee reports. Mr. Shin, the Finance Committee Chair, would you read the agendas, introduce us?
Yes, the Finance Committee, we have the 14 items to discuss tonight. Okay. The details is the first food service vouchers, and second, the secretaries and treasurer's financial reports. So the ratification of board secretaries monthly certification, and 4, approval of the payroll, and 5 is approval of the bill list for December, and 6, the transfer of funds, and 7, the student activities accounts, and 8, the change order request for the Lindbergh locker room project, and 9, our district contract for school year 24-25 with Ridgefield School District, and 10, tuition reimbursement for the STEP iPad, and 11, STEM member vegetation workshops, and 12, cancellation of completed the capital projects, and 13 is joint transportation agreement with Leonia to save the transportation cost. And 14 is approval of the purchase of custodial supplies. Okay, we have 14 items tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Shin. Board members, do you have any discussion, question regarding 14 consent agenda on the finance finance?
This is minor, but the hand dryer.
What item are you talking about?
Number 8. I mean number 8. Can we go to number 6, the hand dryers? I've read that hand dryers are not, what is it?
Mandatory?
Cleanly, I don't know. Yes, sanitary.
Sanitary.
So, I was wondering if, I don't know how much of the upkeep of some of the minor, this is very minor, I don't know how much to belabor this, but is that something,
I don't know about the specification of this, what kind of hand dryer is, but after COVID, I see many hand dryer equipped with ultraviolet something to sanitize the hands. I don't know the technology, but it's for something. Do you know anything
Yeah,
about?
there's some UV lighting in
UV
some hand
lighting.
dryers nowadays. I also know that these are specific to the 2 pre-K classrooms with the youngest children, and we wanna, there's a lot of teaching there as well. So clearly washing of hands, and the hand dryers were omitted in the original rendering from the architects, but recommended thereafter. Hence, we wanna make sure kids are not walking out with, number 1, paper towels, that may not be the cleanest, but the hand dryers were what was recommended.
okay.
But our question is that if the hand dryer will be installed in this classroom,
They would
might
be,
have those UV things.
I don't know the specifications of them.
Okay.
but they would be installed in the bathrooms, not in the classrooms.
Right, no, I understand that. I'm just saying that if, I mean, at this cost.
Yep.
I mean,
This
I
is
don't
not
know
just the
what
hand dryers,
cost
Bo.
analysis-
Obviously, this is just a very small synopsis of what we're paying for. There's electrical work there's to be done. Everything, obviously, in this project is union wages. So a perfect example and something that you can say wasn't a great decision by me, but Alex and I received the change order to put 2 exit signs into 2 classrooms, and Mr. Spalazzo couldn't be a witness if needed, but I don't think it's needed. I bought 2 of those exit signs on Amazon for $27. We paid an electrician, a little less than $300. The change order that was presented to me was in excess of $2,500. I think financially we made a right decision to go the route we did. Hand dryers is not something that I can just go as easily to go pick up and install.
I mean, I'd rather prefer napkins or, you know, whatever, paper. But I don't know, like maintenance of also some hand dryer. Are there any other hand dryers that we have?
Some bathrooms have hand dryers,
Do they all work?
for the most part,
Do
yeah,
we keep them working?
sure.
Yeah, okay.
Listen, if
This
you
is
don't like
minor.
it, again, that's why we're here. We can, deny the
The
change
problem-
order.
The problem with paper towels is that the children will be throwing them in the toilet.
There's been many, there's, you know, it goes both ways, right? And that, again, at that age, that's the concern. But I go based on what the professionals are recommending. That's what they recommend. And I wish it was a little bit cheaper. It's a lot more than just hand dryers, for the record.
In this cost, $2,175?
No, well, in the project, it's
Oh.
electrical work, again, it's,
Right.
it's more inclusive than just 2 hand dryers to what? Dry your hands.
I mean, like electric bill for hand dryer a little cheaper than buying paper towels, right?
Oh, I don't know, I've never done a cost analysis on
Okay.
what's cheaper, but,
Oh, I thought we just understood that
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm talking about they have to run an electrical line to connect to the hand dryers. That line now has to go back to another circuit potentially.
Can we
So-
consider just having,
Paper towels?
yes,
Absolutely. So long as you get another 4 people that think like you do.
Christie?
The one thing, okay, come to my attention was, okay, change orders, the last one is prime and the paint the door. It looks like the painting the door is very basic to do some kind of the repair or construction. But I think this is the result of like incapability of the architecture or whatever, okay? So I would like to, anyway, this has to be done, okay? So tonight, we don't have any choice but to accept this. But in future, when the BOE members choose some kind of architecture or the subcontractor, we have to reconsider and study about their capability. So not to choose this kind of incapable the subcontractor in the future. So I would urge all the Board of Education member, okay, when they choose some kind of contractor, please think and study about their capability. Please, that's what I want.
Okay. For in construction and architects area, there always we have unexpected and additional cost, right, in general.
Contingencies.
Yeah,
Right, but
this is not
this
only
is
the
to-
architecture, but
you
the
think that
also
this is
the
above
other
the
contractors, we
range?
have to, evaluate their contracts more seriously and more detailed like this. Not to make this kind of the additional expense use, prevent from that.
Okay. Mr. Peck?
This is about, number 9. So, what is this additional service that we're paying for?
So the child with special needs may have other disabilities that require occupational therapy, physical therapy, it could be speech, it could be any other services required as per the IEP.
Any other questions? If not, let's move on to the building and grounds. Committee Chair, Ms. Rebecca Lee.
Before you guys, two consent agendas. The first one is the waiver application for the NJBOE preschool classrooms. It's the two classrooms that were put into the locker rooms. And then number two is the school bus emergency evacuation drills for ECC, which was done back in October and November 22nd, November 25th for kindergartens and preschool.
Okay. Any discussions?
Yeah, we're here. So, why did what's it called? The square footage of the instructional space decreased by 200 feet?
It didn't decrease. It is a requirement that to have a preschool classroom,
Okay.
that at a minimum 950 square feet is available or accessible for instructional space. Anything below that must exceed 750 with a waiver. So in order to house those classes, we must have a Board of Education resolution, a waiver, then the state would determine that the space is suitable. We exceed 750 in both rooms, we don't have 950.
Okay.
If we had 950, there would not be a recommendation there.
So what is the size then? It's more than 750 and less
Absolutely.
than 950?
Yeah, so approximately, Mr. Shin, is it in the, it's in the,
Classroom number one.
yeah, it's in the folder. Go ahead,
Yeah, I can read it.
please.
But before address Mr. Shin's questions, where there's a New Christian Academy, the class size to be included in this waiver list, right?
Correct.
But they're already occupied with our
Two
children.
two
Right.
are not. When the state
So
comes
it's
into
total to
evaluate,
another two.
if we need two more in the future, we are doing this now as a proactive measure, Ms. Chung.
Okay, so it has to be before that we have the
Occupied.
children's.
Yes.
Okay.
The two rooms though at Lindbergh, for Mr. Shin's answer, are 856 and 866 square feet respectively. Is that right? On the
Because
right?
it has classroom, just number 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, on the right, Lindbergh School.
Lindbergh School is 1 is 856 square feet, classroom 2 is 866 square feet.
Did we have the previous case, this kind of waiver requested and
Yes.
accepted?
Absolutely, many times.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question for number 2.
Yes.
So what kind of annual drills are you
Yeah,
doing?
so the state requires that students, like a fire drill in a school, that you also practice getting on and off the bus in an event of an emergency. So it's as simple as that sounds. The students literally get on the bus and let's evacuate the bus. Let's get them off the bus. And it's a practice in the event, God forbid, there's an emergency. But it is required that we document it and that we submit this to the state.
And is this one yearly or?
So each school has to do it at least twice a year. So it's at least twice a year per school. Sometime, of course, we don't have buses, for transportation of students. So we do it when we go on field trips for the most part.
Okay. Alright, no further questions.
Any other questions? So just a question, so in worst case, if it's not approved by state, is there a way to solve the problem, or usually just easily?
Once we're over 750, I would not have recommended any of this if I was told that this would not be approved.
Okay.
So, I would never say 100%, but 99.9% sure on Friday morning, we will get final approvals.
Okay, thank you. And let's move on to personnel committee. Ms. No, not Miss, I'm sorry. Mr. Charlie Sheen, could you read the agendas on the, in personnel?
Yes, the personal committee, we have 7 items to discuss, nothing serious but still. The first one is the approval of STEM member for bilingual parent night. And the second, approval of home instruction teachers. And third is appointment of staff. And four is the approval of the staff for the preschool parent workshop. And fifth is resignation of assistant boys tennis coach. And sixth is approval of resignation of the assistant track and field coach. And seven is request for leave of staff number 0222. 7 items to discuss tonight.
Any questions, discussion?
Number 4, preschool parent workshop, is that training for parents?
That is correct.
So, what kind of procedure we are using for training parents?
So this is just a lot of reinforcing of what we do during the school day, Ms. Min. It's a lot of additional educational programs that the parents can work with their children after hours. We use the creative curriculum, if that's what your question is, I'm sorry.
So, are we going to introduce kind of curriculum?
We have a curriculum, we have the creative curriculum in all preschool. That is a requirement.
Dr. Sorella, number 4, will that be a yearly thing now?
Yes, that's required. We've been doing that for the last few years, absolutely.
Thank you.
Multiple times a year, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions in personnel? If not, next curriculum. Committee chair is Go Young Yoon. Can you read the consent agendas?
1, early dismissal. Be resolved that the Palisades Park Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves student early dismissal at the high school on the following dates for midterm exam: January 23rd, January 24th, January 27th, and January 28th. Number 2, field trips. 2, Ramapo College, American Dream, Walter Care Theater, Palisades Park Library, Donna's Pizza, Lifetown USA, Lindbergh Elementary School, Hackensack, New Jersey, Urban Air.
Questions? Ms. Lee?
For Ramapo College, is that the teen arts or?
No, this was the program that we discussed, that we sent an email, if you remember, a few weeks back. So it's a advisory panel, with other Bergen County school districts.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Dr. Cirillo,
Yes, sir.
there are number 2 field trip.
Yes.
They travel to the Walter Care Theater in New York.
Yes.
Student could pay $50, right? So this $50 covers the transportation, and is there any admission fee?
Yes, there is. Unfortunately, with the cost of transportation, we cannot control it. One of the recommendations tonight, we've already seen a major difference financially. Leonia, fortunately, we have a shared service agreement that we're going to enter in tonight. With that being said, when they are completing their transportation routes with their students, those buses are sitting on their lot. So if we are able to utilize them for field trips at a fraction of the cost that we would pay others, I think financially it's a major incentive for us to take advantage of it. So I'm grateful to the Leonia Board of Ed and their administration for allowing us to work with them.
So how many students do you expect to attend this?
Because of the cost, I can't give you an approximate number, but I could tell you it's no more than one bus, which would only hold 52 passengers, inclusive of chaperones. Mr. Shin, I can get back to you with an exact number. I don't want to publicly give you one, but it could be anywhere from 20 to 30. But I can give you a more definitive number.
Yeah, it looks like the $50 is a little
Excessive.
burdensome amount for the students. So is there any way the Board of Education subsidy some kind or support?
I wish we
Share
had it.
some of
I
that.
think the mayor and council can help us in the coming weeks. Maybe you know somebody that's gonna be there. Mr. Shin, in all fairness, all kidding aside, the problem becomes, as much as I would like to help subsidize this trip because of the cost, I have always been consistent, and if I do it for this trip, I have to do it for every trip. And I know the cost is extremely high compared to other trips, but financial situations for everyone is different. We are taking into account, this is New York City, doesn't happen all the time that we do trips like that. The cost of the bus is obviously much higher. I think fundraising is something that we've done in the past to offset the cost, and that's something that I've talked to the building principal about.
Like the student pay only this $30 and $20 per student pays from somewhere else. Then it's if it is less than 50 students, is more than less than the $1,000. So the student can pay only the $30 per student. So.
But the
is there
admission,
any-
the admission to the program as well is something that we have to consider. So I have no control over that. I think personally, one of the best ways to do it would be to potentially fundraise, and that would offset the cost of the trip. But I'm gonna do a little bit more homework on this. I can report back to the board,
Okay.
okay?
So it's next March. So
Yes,
we have
we
plenty
have
of
time.
time
Yep.
to do something. Yeah?
Dr. Sorolla,
Yes.
But isn't this trip by choice, not?
Of course,
it's a-
every
it's
trip
a
is,
drama
well, I
club.
shouldn't say
It's
every
not
trip.
for a class.
It's not required. No one is required to go. You don't have to go.
Yeah, it's not.
But a program like that is going to cost a little bit more because of the venue, because of the place, of course. Yeah, but again, we also wanna allow these type of programs to every student, and being cost conscious is something that we have to consider. So, again, I've already talked to Mr. Garcia. I was very hesitant about signing it. There are teachers here that know I've pushed back on field trips because of the cost this year, and because the costs are going up. It's not their doing, it's bus cost. I have no control over that. But we are being creative and trying to offset some of these costs.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that it's not for a class, it's for a club. so
Correct.
it's by choice.
Correct.
Alright, any further questions and
So-
discussions?
Okay, let's say like somebody wants like to donate
Yes, sir.
like the $1,000 to reduce the cost for
Thank you
students,
very
like
much.
to $30. Okay.
Palisades Park student activities.
It's too early, okay, to thanks, okay, but anyway, it's worth a try, why not? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Palisades Park student activities is where the donation would be for.
Yes, so like somebody related to kind of like a drama club or some kind of movie theater or the play, something like that, you can ask them, so they can nominate the use of that fund.
Absolutely
If
right.
they, like donate the $1,000
Absolutely.
to the school, they can nominate the use of that money here.
And
right?
we've had that done. We've had that done with some people sitting on this dais. We've had that done with some business owners in this town where they donate money, and they ask us to apply it to,
Like the owner of
Programs.
karaoke, okay, somebody related to.
I don't know them. I'm not
dramas
going
or
there.
whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's try,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
So in that case, the donor doesn't designate where the money is
They can.
used, then, well, if not, then you usually recommend
Well,
them.
then we try to be fair and we share that amongst the 5 or 6 classes, and mostly it's 4 classes. When I say 6, it's 7th grade, 8th grade, 9, 10, 11, 12. If it's to high school student activities, again, it matters where the donations are made. In the past, we've had Exxon make donations for Lindbergh Elementary School, and that goes to Lindbergh student activities.
Okay, thank you. Further discussions? In curriculum, let's move on to next committee, policy. Ms. Eun-min, we have actually quite a lot on the policy this month. We have 8 consent agenda. Would you please read?
Okay, because as you told, 8 items we have, and all of these policies have already been adopted a few years ago, but they are only being updated by NJSBA, okay? So number 1, policy 3571.4 is audit, and number 2, policy number 5113 attendance absences and excuses about. Number 3, policy number 6114, emergencies and disaster preparedness. Number 4, policy number 6140 is about curriculum adoption. Number 5, policy number 6146, graduation requirements. Number 6, policy number 5141.8, sports related concussion and head injury. Number 7, policy number 3570, district record and reports. Last one, number 8, policy number 9140, student representatives to the board. So as I told you, all of this already been adopted before, but they are only being updated by NJSBA.
For number 8, we are actually amending the local law, right? So it's like local.
Yeah, so just to
Right.
clarify, all of these updates are provided by New Jersey school boards. At that point, we of course don't just approve them without ensuring that we can comply in our schools. So I shared those policies, not just with the board, but with the schools. We edit and revise according to what is best for our schools. And number 8, obviously, we've tailored, I think, and I've shared with the board my sentiments on that many a times.
So I know the nature of this number 8, but the other other updates from number 1 to 7.
Yes.
Is the original nature of these updates just because the NJSBA recently updated or
That is
updated
correct.
just
Yes.
following that?
So I think most of them reflect changes in the law or regulations. So for instance, number 7, there was a big change in the Open Public Records Act this past year, so that I think is meant to incorporate that. And for a bunch of the other ones, they are also meant to incorporate changes in the regulations.
Right, but like number 7, this Oprah updates was last year, so I just wondered why is this month we are doing this? It's just because NJSBA took the time to adopt it from the state change?
Probably, I mean, I can't quite speak for NJSBA,
Okay,
but yes, I
okay.
mean, that's usually.
Do you have any questions and policies? Mr. Rebecca Lee?
Dr. Sorrell, can you explain the graduation requirement for the financial aid, application?
That's a great question. Well, there is a requirement, but today I was on a state legislative hearing, government relations, and as we are all well aware, in a few weeks, we're going to have a new president-elect, where there's a lot of concern about this FAFSA requirement. So stay tuned, is what I was told at about 9 a.m. I think I've been told, I don't know how official it will be, but the governor may be making a comment or passing some statute. Aaron, you might know better than me. But with regard to the FAFSA application, there are many families that may be hesitant, understandably, to fill it out. But it is a requirement right now. And I think in filling that out in the new year, with the new administration, that could cause further concern for many families. So stay tuned, is what we were told at 9 a.m. Rebecca, I'm sorry, I don't have more.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I do, for number 8, I think you've got all the new language and amendments on this number 9140 policy on student representative to the board, right? And I have some provisions or language there to be more discussed with board members, such as like recommendations to the teachers, kind of. Would you like to discuss now, or if not, I just wanna, I don't know how long it will take to make a discussion, but if not, I would just like to make a motion to approve this later on in the regular session, in contingency or in condition with some further revisions or discussion.
What other, we should discuss the revisions now, so there's no
Right, sure.
uncertainty.
Is it onerous to have 3 recommendations? I mean, like, do you think it's necessary, or is it part of the statute, or how does this work?
So again, the policy is derived at New Jersey School Boards. I did not change that part of it. The parts I changed, I had edited that, I shared it with the board. And that was really just after getting the feedback from some of you. We can amend it to whatever we believe. I don't think 3 recommendations is a lot, but again, it's completely at your discretion.
If board members are okay, majority of them are okay with it, I'm fine with it. I just didn't understand much about how that would work effectively compared to this current
Well,
system.
Yeah, I think, I don't wanna speak for other districts, and I'm thinking the rationale behind New Jersey School Boards is, you don't want this to become a popularity contest. You don't want a student that may not be in good standing to get a lot of votes and not have the recommendations of the faculty and staff. And then they sit on the dais and they're technically going to be sharing, like we have in the past. So I think that's where you may weed out, maybe someone that may not be deserving to be considered.
But if the student is representing the students, and then, so then if there's a voting way for the students to vote for someone,
Sure.
or is there?
Yes,
It is?
yes, that's what we are changing as well.
Maybe
Okay.
to be on the list to be voted, like candidate or
Yes.
nominee,
Yes,
that it is required, each student is required from 3 teachers. Am I understanding?
That's correct.
Okay.
Because I don't see that voting procedure in this, so I don't know, that's what my question was, I don't see anything like.
so what I wrote, and I think what I'll share again publicly is under term, under bylaw 9140, student representatives to the board shall serve a term of 1 year. Interested students shall submit a letter of intent to be considered for election. So I think once we say election, we know we're gonna have a vote.
Okay, I just saw it.
It's okay. An election will be held to elect a student rep to the Board of Ed. The elected student shall begin their term on July 1 through June 30 of the new school year. Students may run for re-election when their term expires, so long they're still students, of course. They can't be graduates.
So can you update what are they now in the high school? 'Cause
Yeah, well, obviously, this year we didn't have a student rep yet, and we're going to hopefully have this done in January. But keep in mind, in May, we very likely will be looking for a new student rep, or it could be the same person, if so long they're a junior or younger, for July through next year. Because it took us some time to come up with this policy update.
So for the student rep who will be elected next month, will just stay 6 months, 7 months?
Potentially,
now?
or they could be reelected next year if they're an underclassman.
I mean, first term, right?
Yes. My goal is to have a student rep before this board on our regular January board meeting, not at reorganization.
Okay. But I don't know if I misunderstood, but I thought that in high school there are candidates applying for that
That is correct.
position, right?
Yes, and then we will have an election,
Okay.
and then we will have someone here at the board meeting, I hope, whenever we decide our January meeting schedule at reorg.
So this is a high school still accepting the students' candidates?
We did not start yet, we're gonna do that in the new year.
New year?
Yeah, I think right now it'll get lost with everything else going on.
Okay.
Will you have the attendance clause in there too as well, or, cause I know students can be busy,
The attendance clause,
you know, like how, with the Board of Ed, you know, if you miss 3 consecutive, you know.
yeah, that's completely up to the board, I'm not looking to,
I was just
remove
asking.
anyone from a student rep position because
No.
they're busy, I don't think that's not our intention. If they have legitimate reason not to be here, we would understand that.
And it says like, duties attend all public meetings.
Yes,
So if they miss 1 or 2 meetings, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna hit them.
You're gonna-
It's 1 or 2.
Nothing, Ms. Min. If they have valid concerns or reasons for not being here, if they're gonna, you know, again, they may be working part-time jobs, volunteering. Obviously, if it's a continued concern, we would have to revisit their
Yeah, that was my
position
concern.
here. But I
What if,
think,
you know,
yeah, I think right now that's not a concern. I think if this is a volunteer that wants to be here, he or she will make this a commitment. I'm not gonna ever hit anybody, Ms. Min. Delete that. Joe, you? This guy to my left that might get it before you.
Include that in the minutes.
Please.
Do you have more questions on policy? Discussions? If there's no further discussion, let's move on to, oh, sorry, where?
Nothing more.
Where is, I'm sorry, just, I don't know if I got one.
It's in the queue, but there's nothing more.
That's it, nomination. Thank you,
No problem.
thank you.
No problem.
So let's move on to New Jersey School Board Liaison alternate is Sugyong Park.
No report today.
County School Board alternate Mr. Adam Park.
Nothing to report at the moment.
School Safety and Security Committee, Mr. Anthony Kim.
No items to be approved.
Did I mention about negotiation? No, it's not in the.
It's earlier, I believe.
What?
I believe it is letter O.
Oh, I
Yes.
just skipped it?
Yes.
Sorry. So the negotiation committee, Mr. William Kim.
No report.
Alright, thank you. Sorry for skipping it, and do we have all the business
No.
to discuss? New business? No. Can I have a motion to adjourn the work session and move on to the regular session?
I make a motion to close the work session and move on to the regular session.
Second.
We're back to June then.
All in favor?
Aye.
No abstention? No objection? So, let's start with the board present reports. Yeah, I just wanna say happy holiday, cause we will see you next year in January. And wish you have a good holiday, stay warm with your family and friends, whomever that you wish to have. And I know that all the staffs and teachers and Grecians, you are here, probably you prefer to stay home with this rainy day, but thank you for making your trip to board meeting or to make your voices, we respect that. And thank you for all the board members to working this 2024 for a year, 12 months. It was an honor to work with you. And there will be 2 board members who will resign from next year, but they will be recognizing reorg meeting. And the reorg meeting is set on January 8th, Wednesday, 6:30, here in ECC. And thanks to all the administrator as well, Dr. Cirillo, Mr. Kondowski, and our lawyer, Mr. Bush, Mr. Aaron, and then Jonathan, and all the attorneys working with us, and thank you, and happy holiday. And also thank you for PTA members here. That was surprised that we just bumped into the hot cocoa table. That was surprise, and thank you for your sweet action to us to make our day today. Thank you. Do you have a report?
Yeah, very quickly, and again, echo what you had just touched on to Mr. Shin and Ms. Min. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for your service to the Board of Education. I know this is technically your last meeting. I please ask that you both attend the reorg on January 8th. We would like to recognize you formally. If you have any final remarks at that point, please, you have the right to do so, but thank you publicly at your last official meeting. As I mentioned earlier, our pre-K classrooms are at the final stages of inspections. To keep everyone up to date, we have received our electrical and plumbing final inspections approved. Tomorrow morning, I am meeting with our building department and fire officials for final approvals. And Friday, fingers are crossed, we are meeting with the Department of Education, so long that we have a waiver approved, and they think that it is more than 750 square feet. We are really excited to start those pre-K classrooms in the new year. Obviously, we're going to have an orientation like we do for the new students in this building. So it will not be on January 2nd, but it will very likely be the second week of January, date to be determined. But we're really happy with the progress. I thank anyone and everyone that has been patiently working around those conditions. It wasn't the most ideal of cases, but like everything else, we are pretty resilient. We've endured, and we are in a good place going forward. And again, from my family to your family, because this is a second home for many of us, happy holidays to you all, happy new year, all the best, stay well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Aaron Mander, do you have any attorney reports today?
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Let's move on to approve meeting minutes of November 20th. I have a motion to approve meeting minute if you don't have any requests to corrections. We have a motion.
I'd like to make a motion for approve, meeting minutes.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Aranda? All in favor? No objection? No abstention? If not, then the minute is approved. Let's move on to the committee agenda to be approved. We have 14 finance agendas to approve. We have a motion.
Yeah, I wanna make motion.
Make a quick question for
Yeah.
actually number 12, is there a reason, what prompted the transfers?
Yeah, so we've had our audit, and there will be a presentation in the new year. But they reviewed many of our previous records, and they saw that we had allocations that were not fully spent. So this is surplus, if you call it that. So we want to close those lines completely and transfer those funds.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions before approval?
Can we approve this without the hand dryer?
You can table that one if you want to, that's completely up to you, but I think you're gonna need a new motion.
There was a motion by Mr. Shin.
I'll second the motion.
Mr.
To,
Williams,
hold on,
I don't know.
When you spoke,
To approve 14.
all 14?
Yes.
Okay. So I think you have to have a roll call on that first, since you have a first. Aaron? You have a motion and a second?
okay, so,
You can have discussion on it, or if somebody wants to make a motion before you vote to amend it, you can do that. Is that,
I'd like to make a motion to amend it to,
all that one's still pending, yeah.
what's pending?
Their motion to approve all of the agenda items for finance, or facilities or finance? Sorry.
Finance.
Finance.
The change order is
Well, they made a
reflective
motion,
of
so
number
that's
5.
now pending.
Okay,
Under like Robert rules, you can, while that's still pending, if you wanted to make a motion to amend,
I'd like to make a motion
you
to
can do that.
amend.
And someone have to second, and then you need a majority to amend the
Because we have a motion and a second.
resolution.
so, okay, so Ms. Bo, you are,
Making
Trying to make a motion
to
to-
amend it without this hand dryer. Without those.
any second?
Any seconds? Come on, people.
We have a motion and a second though.
Hold on, here's the attorney, let him do it.
Okay. All right. Then-
Any other second? No?
Okay.
Okay, the motion didn't pass?
So we have a motion and a second on the original 14.
Right, so I'll
Right.
call for a vote on the pending motion to approve the whole finance.
Okay. Mr. Kondowski, could you please roll call?
Ms. Sue Chung,
Yes?
Mr. Anthony Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Rebecca Lee, oh, not yeah.
This is motion for the first.
All 14, Charlie. All
Right.
14, what you made the motion on.
Ms. Yunmin,
Yes.
Mr. Aaron Pack,
Yes.
Ms. Suk Young Park,
Yes.
Mr. Charlie Shin,
Yes.
Mr. William Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Bo Young Yu.
No?
Motion passes.
Okay, building and grounds, we have two consent items to approve. I have a motion.
Motion to
Members,
approve the building and grounds.
Aaron? May I get second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No objection, abstention? The motion passed? Or the agenda passed, yeah, and, personnel, we have a 7 consent agenda for approval. May I have a motion to approve the 7 consent agenda in personnel?
I'd like to make a motion for all, 7 items for personnel.
Second.
May I have a, roll call please?
Ms. Soo Chung,
Yes?
Mr. Anthony Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Yunmin,
Yes.
Mr. Aaron Pack,
Yes.
Ms. Suk Young Park,
Yes.
Mr. Charlie Shin,
Yes.
Mr. William Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Bo Young Yu.
Aye.
Thank you.
So next, curriculum, we have 2 consent agenda for board approval. We have a motion to approve curriculum agendas.
So if,
We have questions?
yeah, for the items of field trip to the New York City, if there is, what should we do if?
So we're
We're
approving the
amount
trip,
to be
Mr. Shin,
changed.
we're not approving the amount technically because the board's not paying it. So if the amount is reduced,
Hmm?
there's really just a bonus at the end of the day for the students. So really, it doesn't affect the resolution tonight.
Okay.
The resolution is for the attendance.
So I can say yes, right?
You can do whatever you think is in your heart.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, what kind of fundraisers would we be able to?
Yeah, so since it's the Dramatic Arts Club, they do bake sales, there could be a shirt sale, there can be many different things that, they can be creative and, sometimes with half days, there's pizza sales, because when the students leave at 12:30, they're hungry. And on the way out the door, they grab a slice of pizza. So there are various ways, so long that other clubs and activities did not sign up for them already, there are opportunities.
We have a motion to approve the curriculum agendas.
Yeah, I'll make motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No abstentions, no objection. 2 consent agenda were approved. Negotiation. And negotiation has no agenda, so let's go to policy. We have a consent agenda to approve updated policies. May I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion as the consent agenda is resolution. I second.
It has to go local or this one, the policy, as all in favor of all.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do a roll call.
All in favor?
Aye.
No objection? No abstentions? So now all 8 policies updated. So the other committee has no reports and no resolution for approval. So may I have a motion to open the public participation?
I'd like to make a motion to open the, audience participation.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
is 4 seconds. All in favor? So now this meeting is open to public participation. Each audience can speak 3 minutes, and please state with your name and address.
Prince Ernie. Hi everyone. So I'm Corinne Sterney, the negotiation chair. Board members, for the past year at these meetings, you have been telling the public that you value the teachers and faculties of this district, but at the same time refusing to provide us with a fair and equitable contract. I have been working here for 19 years. Palisades Park has some of the best teachers and support staff in the state. Teachers and staff who daily go beyond the scope of their duties to provide fun and engaging learning environments to the children, who are loyal to the district and have been here for years, who foster relationships with the children and strive to help them succeed. Jacqueline DeLosa. Jacqueline DeLosa works at the high school. She has started a charity, Purses for Purpose. Ms. DeLosa started this charity 10 years ago. It began as a fundraiser that she had her girls' volleyball team do. They would collect purses, fill them with toiletries, and then bring them to the Center for Hope and Safety, which aids victims of domestic violence. This charity fundraiser evolved over the years into a charity brunch with over 125 attendees, raising over $8,000. This year, as in past years, faculty and staff were in attendance, along with both current and former administrators, the former mayor of Palisades Park, and our town's current mayor. We were disappointed not to see board members in attendance to support this worthy cause. Ms. Jacqueline DeLosa is one who, in spite of working without a new contract, shows up each day and gives everything she's got to create the best learning experience for the children of Palisades Park High School. She is not alone.
Good evening. My name is Miss Graff, Jessica Graff. I've been teaching for over 20 years in this district. I've been a coach for over 15 years. I've volunteered my time for various school activities. But today, I'm here to speak about another teacher, Alexa Lewis. Ms. Lewis is co-chair of the Palisades Park Education Association's Public Education Partnership, or PEP committee. The goal of PEP is to get to know our students, their families, and the community by hosting and supporting free community events, as well as sponsoring local organizations that benefit our students and other Palisades Park residents. Its successes relies on the kindness and dedication of our members who help out at these events, which occur outside our contract hours. Alexa and the PEP team have hosted and supported events such as movie nights, parent information nights at the schools, trunk or treat breakfast with Santa, the Easter Bunny drive-thru, literacy night at Lindbergh Elementary School, and more. Ms. Lewis is one whom, in spite of working without a new contract, shows up each day and gives everything she's got to create the best learning experience for the children of Palisades Park. And she is not alone.
Other participation?
I can't
Yes.
stand, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have a
Okay, sure.
issue. My name's Maureen Tanti, I work at Palisades Park High School. 2025 will be my 30th year in the district. I started out in Lindbergh School as an aide. I became a special ed aide when they had built the modulars, which was then used for handicap preschool, and then moved up to the high school in 1998. I see on here 7 field trips. Teachers don't have to even do a field trip. It's more work for them. It's for the children. And particularly without a contract, I applaud you all for doing it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of planning. And Mr. Shin, as far as the cost goes, my experience has been if a child can't go because of cost, they cover it. Whether it's coming out of their own pocket, or they fundraise and have a few extra dollars, not enough to pay for everybody, the child is not denied. And I think that speaks of the caliber of people in this room. And I wish they were treated, myself included, with more respect. For me, my contract expired July 1st, because I'm a 12-month employee. I'm a 66-year-old widow. I don't make an exorbitant amount of money, and I think a county average is not an unreasonable ask. So I hope that you will consider what we do every day. And we're here for the kids. It's about them. It's not about us. It's about your future. And I hope that we can come to an agreement sooner than later.
Thank you. Any other audience?
Joe Sperlazzo.
Concert time.
I am disappointed about that. I would rather be at the concert.
You had your 3 minutes.
And I'm surprised, but not for a sec, each question, that we had a meeting tonight. I'd rather be there watching that. They've worked very hard as well. Don't shush me, Joe.
Tell you why later. No. You make a motion.
May I have a motion to close the public participation? And also, I'd like,
Aaron. We have a motion.
let's do this first. So Aaron, may I have a second to close the public participation? Second. All in favor? So before I make him to adjourn the meeting, so I have to ask the board members if you do like, anyone would like to be made for negotiation meeting or other issues to be discussed for updates of our negotiations, that you can be made and let me know if who can stay or not. If that's more than majority, then I'll have to just do the executive session. If not, we just adjourn the meeting. And then negotiation team will remain here. So, everybody should just, okay. I have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? Thank you.